The Boston Celtics win game 1 of the NBA Finals, and it all went according to plan thanks to Kristaps Porzingis coming off the bench, surprise, and Jaylen Brown and more. It's all right now on the Locked On Celtics podcast.
Thanks to Blockbuster Brand, it's holiday season. Drop Drew in the mix. And 3 from KP, no, we not on the Knicks. Flushing competition like Al on Giannis. Juice and Big Juice, still Beantown's finest. Banner 18 going up in the rafters. Watch the C's game in Locked On after. Karalis on the breakdown. Clutch like a tip from D. White on the breakdown. John on the mic, documenting domination. Matter pen a back bay, it's all C's nation. Rain and J's, how we started, raising business, how we finish. Locked On Celtics pod, home of the winners. Peace.
Hey there, welcome back to the Locked On Celtics podcast, right here on the Locked On Podcast Network, where it's your team every day, and I got you covered every single day, Monday through Friday, with a free, fresh podcast that drops directly to your device. So make sure you are subscribed wherever you get your podcasts. Watch the show on YouTube, get into that comment section. Let me know what you think about the Boston Celtics winning game 1 of the NBA Finals, 107-89. If you're new to the show, I'm John Karalis. Welcome, Mavs fans. If any of you are here, I'm sure some of you are going to come in here and be like, the refs. That's what when you lose, you blame the refs. The Celtics win this game. It went basically according to the entire plan I laid out here. Porzingis coming off the bench was huge. Jaylen Brown was awesome. But later on, we'll talk about this is just one game. I'm here at TD Garden. If you hear a bunch of stuff around me, they're trying to turn over the arena because there's a concert of a person I have never heard of. But I'm sure whoever that is going to put on a wonderful show here on Friday night. For now, I am still on the floor. So I apologize for any of the noise that's going on around me, behind me, if you hear any of that. Today's show is brought to you by PrizePicks. The easiest and most exciting way to play daily fantasy sports. Go to prizepicks.com/LockedOnNBA. Use the code LockedOnNBA, all lowercase, for a first deposit match up to $100. Let's just get right to it. 107-89. The Celtics had a lead of up to 29. It went down to 8. Teeth-chattering moment. And then big response. Championship-level response. 14-0 run in the third quarter. 8-point lead gets back up to 22. The Celtics were getting smoked in the third quarter, and then that 14-0 run, suddenly they were winning the third quarter. It's just incredible work by the Celtics to turn that game around, turn that quarter around, and basically that's where they won the game. That answer is not an answer that we normally get, or maybe we're not used to. I think the blowing a 29-point lead is something we're used to. I think a lot of people around here got nervous about that 29-point lead going away. But the Celtics were able to calm down, finally, after Joe Mazzulla called a timeout, and they figured out the things that were going wrong. They come out, they start playing a little bit harder, they play a little bit faster, they play with a little bit more hustle. Jayson Tatum grabs an offensive rebound. Kristaps Porzingis cuts right down the middle and gets the dunk. That kind of triggers a lot of it. Jaylen Brown was incredible in that stretch. In that 14-0 run, 6 points alone in that 14-0 run, plus an assist to Al Horford for 3. So he counts for 9 of the 14 points. Plus he prevents 6 points at the other side. In a span of less than 2 minutes, he gets 3 huge blocked shots, all of a sudden turning into Jalen Mutombo. Incredible work. That was just what a response by him, by the Celtics. Joe Mazzulla pushing all the right buttons. Incredible. But this went according to plan. And am I taking a little bit of a victory lap? Sure, a little bit, because I said this is what the Celtics had to do. Step 1, limit Luka Dončić. You play him basically straight up, understanding that you're going to have to throw a bunch of stuff at him, but you're going to have to throw a double team, which they did. They threw a couple of blitzes. They did. They worked. You switch a couple of times. You put Al Horford on there. Sometimes you switch and you gave him Peyton Pritchard. Sometimes you switch and you gave him Dereck White. Sometimes it paid off. Sometimes it didn't. Most of the time, they played him straight up, and they limited his passing options. And what was the result? 30 points for him. Yeah, no problem. 1 assist. 1 assist for Luka Doncic. Perfect. Absolutely perfect. Just sign me up for 3 more games of that. Luka, if Luka scores 30 points and has 1 assist again, that's another win for the Celtics. I'm telling you, that is, I don't know how they're going to change it. They'll find a way. I know, and I'll talk about this more later, but I'm not crowing about the series being over, anything like that. There are going to be answers on both sides, but the game plan to me was play Luka basically straight up, limit his passing options, and it's exactly what they did, and it worked like a charm. You target Kyrie. I talked yesterday to when we're on with Tom Westerholm, and I said the 2 targets that I'm really going after, Kyrie Irving, I'm living with Luka, Kyrie Irving, and Dereck Lively. And what happened? Kyrie Irving, 12 points on 6 of 19 shooting. Now, I've been saying if you get 15 points on 15 shots, that's perfect. To get 12 points on 19 shots from Kyrie, chef's kiss. The defense in this game was amazing. They only scored 89 points. They shot less than 42%. They were 7 of 27 from the 3-point line, less than 26% there. They got to the line 19 times, shot 63%. Both teams got to the line 19 times. Actually, both teams sucked at the line too. Boston shot 68.5%. So I'd like to say Boston should be better at the line, but they, as long as they match what Dallas does there, hey, fine. But they should be better at the line. But Kyrie Irving, 12 points, just 2 assists for him. The Mavs had 9 assists overall, and I think 1 of them or 2 of them came in garbage time. So that worked perfectly. And then Lively, who, Mavs fans, I said it. I asked the question, do you expect a rookie to come in here and play great? Is it possible that a rookie can come in here and struggle in the NBA Finals? He might turn this around. I'm not saying this is how it's going to go all 4 games, but in game 1, struggles, right? Big struggles for him. He didn't score, he didn't pass, and he was completely off his game. And let me tell you, he got called for 5 fouls, which all, by the way, all came in the 3rd quarter. I had to double check because he had no fouls at halftime, and he had 5 in the 3rd quarter. Lively, who was important, we talked about how important he was. 1 of 1 from the field, 0 of 2 from the line. He had 5 rebounds, just 1 offensive rebound, 1 assist, 5 personal fouls, 1 steal, no block shots, minus 15. That's massive. That's a massive defensive performance on him, and that's him. And I got to rewatch the game to see exactly how they did it, but they limited him completely. The Mavs had, I don't think I saw a single lob. I saw a couple of attempts. There might have been 1 in there, but all of this, they're going to throw these lobs and all went away. They all went away. The Celtics were able to limit everything. They did a great job. And there were a couple of attempts, and Porzingis got called for a foul on one. Hey, that's fine. I don't care. He backed into, I think it was Lively, backed into him. I don't think he intended to undercut him or anything like that, but he was trying to take away the lob, and the Celtics throw off the timing there, and you make a guy think maybe he's a little less aggressive. But the Celtics did such an incredible defensive job. Everything that I laid out, everything that I said the Celtics should do, they did all of it, and it worked perfectly. Perfectly. There will be adjustments, I'm sure, for game 2. I'm not going to say game 2 is going to go just like game 1. It won't. And that's a podcast. We'll probably do a bonus podcast tomorrow to look ahead to Sunday. It's going to be different. It's going to be different. But for game 1, just tick off all the boxes. Everything that I laid out, boom, it was there. Except for one thing. I thought they were going to start Kristaps Porzingis. That him coming off the bench, apparently, I got asked the question, should he come off the bench because of the layoff? He didn't come off the bench because of the layoff. This was the plan. This was the game plan, not because of the layoff, because this is what they wanted to do to get the matchups they wanted. I'll explain all of that next. Today's show is brought to you by PrizePicks. It's daily fantasy sports made easy. All you got to do is pick more or less on 2 or more player stats. It's you against the projections. It's not you against one of the 5 million members who are playing PrizePicks. You could turn $10 into $1,000 in a single game watching your favorite sports this summer. With this PrizePicks lineup, it takes you as little as 60 seconds to make your picks. You just got to pick more or less on 2 to 6 player stat projections, and you're locked in. It's America's #1 fantasy sports app with those 5 million members. You can get into the daily actions with your friends, become part of the PrizePicks community. Do so today. And the finals mean more on PrizePicks. So do star players. You get boosted payouts on select basketball stars that you will not find anywhere else. And there's always action on PrizePicks. This is the perfect time to try something new as basketball is winding down. You can make sure you try the esports this month, because for every Wednesday and Saturday in June, if your lineup doesn't win, you get your entry fee back. Choose from Counter-Strike 2, Call of Duty, League of Legends, and more. It's all there on PrizePicks. All you've got to do is download the PrizePicks app. Use the code LOCKEDONNBA. You get a first deposit match up to $100. That's LOCKEDONNBA on PrizePicks. You could have picked more or less Jaylen Brown 25 points. You would have picked less on this one today. He scored 20. You could have picked more or less for Jayson Tatum rebounds. Well, he had what do you have in this game? 10. So that would have been, actually he had 11. So the pick would have been more. So have some fun over there at PrizePicks. It's daily fantasy sports made easy. Pick more, pick less. It's that easy. Thanks for making Locked On Celtics your first listen every day. Boy, they're really turning this arena around. Sorry for all the noise. Go check out Locked On Sports today, streaming 24/7 on YouTube, on the Amazon Fire TV channels app. You got this show. You got Locked On Mavericks over there. What are they doing? My God. They got this is the noisiest portion. It's 2 a.m. and they're bringing out all the noisiest equipment over here. All right, go check out Locked On Sports today, like I said. Kristaps Porzingis came off the bench, and you thought, oh, wow, well, they're just bringing him back slowly because he was hurt. No, this was part of the plan. Al Horford said afterwards, he said, yeah, we've kind of known for a little bit. So I think the Celtics had this. Joe Mazzulla said, I thought this was the best chance we had to win. I think he wanted Horford matched up on Gafford to pull Gafford just away from the rim. And he wanted Lively on Porzingis because that means that Lively also has to be away from the rim, but has to guard somebody and potentially, if he's handsy, he's going to get fouls, and it worked out. So I think the Celtics just said this is the matchup that we want, and they got it, and it worked. So first of all, shout out Joe Mazzulla. I don't think he needs to pass any more tests. I've believed in him for a while, but he keeps on passing the test. He calls that timeout. He gets the guys organized. They figure something out, and it turns around in the third quarter. Like I've said, he gets this plan to get Porzingis in there as off the bench, and it works out beautifully. They went back and forth. The Celtics were down 1. It was just kind of like Celtics scored a couple, Mavs scored a couple. They go on a little bit of a run. Celtics go on a little bit of a run. Porzingis checks in, and then boom. All of a sudden, Boston ends up 17. He was great. Bringing him off the bench was spectacular. He comes in and punishes Lively. Really just takes full advantage of the kid being a rookie. He's a kid, right? And drives right by him. Has Lively face up. Boom. The calf's fine. The calf is fine. Physically, Porzingis looks just fine. So all of the stuff that he was talking about, like, I don't know if I'm 100%, that was all because he just wasn't sure if his wind was where it needed to be, or, he wasn't sure exactly how he was going to be, if he's going to be 100% of his usual self. So I think he's 100%. I think he's fine. The numbers were pretty damn good for him. 20 and a half minutes. That's all he played, 20 and a half minutes. Horford picks up the rest, 29-48. Well, not really, because there was like 3 minutes of garbage time and Luke Cornett picked up that. So, but Porzingis, 20 and a half minutes, 8 of 13, 2 of 4 from 3, 6 rebounds, 3 blocked shots, 20 points, plus 13. Just incredible. What an incredible return. The defense, there were stretches in the second quarter, late first quarter, second quarter, when the Celtics were building that 29-point lead, where the defense was just stunning. And I know I said this on the podcast. I think I said it on the podcast. I don't remember if I said it on the podcast or I said it to Tom Westerholm in passing. But I said, recency bias, the people are going to be talking about the Mavs, and it's like, whoa, look, the Mavs, they beat the Clippers, and they beat OKC, and they beat Minnesota, and look at this hard run. They eliminated all these 50-win teams, and their defense is playing great, and blah, 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 which is all true. But then they used it to kind of just gloss over glaring matchup issues. And the Celtics were like, well, they played Miami without Jimmy, and Cleveland, what's his name? Josh Allen was hurt, and Donovan Mitchell got hurt at the end, and Pacers, were the Pacers, and people were like, I'm not feeling the Celtics, and all of a sudden, all this money comes in the gambling sites on the Mavericks, and a bunch of national people are picking the Mavs in like 5, and like, what, really? Like, I'm not saying the Mavs can't win this series still, but to be like in 5, really? Like, are you overlooking everything that Boston has done? But people never really took into consideration that Porzingis wasn't there. Porzingis wasn't part of what this team was doing. And honestly, like, why did that not come into the national narrative? Like, here are the Celtics, like, yes, they're playing these teams without certain guys, but they are also playing without Kristaps Porzingis, and that makes a big difference. You saw exactly what Porzingis does for this team, the outlet that he is when he's out there, instead of like Luke Cornett coming in the, at some point late in the first quarter. Like that, no disrespect to Luke, but he's not the offensive threat that Porzingis is, or Al Horford is. Porzingis comes in and changes everything. He is a rim protector. The way he protected the rim, the way he rebounded, the way he changed shots at the rim, not just the 3 blocks. I'm sure when the tracking numbers come out that the shots that he deterred at the rim, like, it's all going to be evident. He was incredible, and he changes so much about what Boston was able to do. If you just play this game without Porzingis, the flow of this entire game is different, not just because Porzingis was great, but because of the ripple effect of what it does for Horford and what it does for who has to play. And, guys that you wouldn't normally play are getting minutes. Well, they don't get the minutes now. And that's a huge deal. That's a big deal. So Porzingis was spectacular in this game. Mazzulla's decision to bring him off the bench paid off. Jaylen Brown, what can you say about Jaylen Brown? He was the best player on the floor to me. Porzingis has a claim, but I think it was Jaylen. Jaylen played so great. What a stretch he's having. What a playoffs he's having. What a season he's had. We've talked about it at length, but so much of this season changed when his like early on, when he kind of like snapped into place, that is when the Celtics really, really took off. When he was like, okay, I know what I have to do. Because I remember the first few weeks, he was like still trying to do too much. Once he figured it out, man, it's been beautiful to watch. He's having such an incredible season. He only had 2 assists, but man, he moved the ball well. He needs to shoot his free throws better, 6 of 11. But 6 rebounds, 2 assists, 3 steals, 3 blocks. He is technically the only Celtic to ever have 23-3, 20 points, 3 steals, 3 blocks in a finals game. I'm going to throw out that caveat that probably Bill Russell has done that before. He scored 20 in a finals game a few times, I believe. I'm sure they didn't count steals and blocks back in not until like 73, 74, I think. So I think it's probably been done before, but it hasn't been done by anybody since 73, 74, right? So before that, there's really only a couple of guys that could have done it. So whatever it is, Jaylen is either in very exclusive or in good company with that performance. But Jaylen was incredible. I'll talk a little bit more about Jaylen and, a little dose of reality when I come back. Today's show is brought to you by our good friends at Crack Sauce. It's local. They didn't let me bring my crack sauce in here, but CRAIC, you can see it on the screen. CRAIC sauce.com. Go check it out. Locally sourced, a big-time Celtics fan who is probably sitting here celebrating, probably listening to this podcast and like going nuts with the rest of the Celtics fans. He's a big-time Celtics fan. He's making these sauces in Lowell, Massachusetts with local farms, local employees, local money coming in, local money going out. This is how you want to support a business, and it's delicious. This is the most important thing is you want a good product. I can say support a Celtics fan, support local businesses, all that stuff, blah, blah, blah. Is it good, John? Yes, it's good. It's amazing. It's delicious. It's not just heat, which you'll get. You'll get plenty of heat. It's flavor. It's an ingredient. It's not just a bottle of red that you just dump on something to make it hot. You can get that, but you can also get flavors to throw into your meals, into maybe to spice up something that's a little bit bland from the supermarket that they make purposely bland so people can dress it up however they want. Put it in your Bloody Mary. Put it in whatever you want to add flavor and heat. Go to cracksauce.com, CRAIC sauce.com. Use the code LOCKEDON. You're going to get 10% off your order. So stock up. Father's Day, birthdays, no reason at all. Buy some for yourself. Buy some for anybody. Your Celtics fans, your father, your brother, your husband, yourself. And you want to try it, if you go to cracksauce.com, you can see where they're going to be around town, Boston Seaport, Portsmouth, New Hampshire. Their schedule is out there. Go say hi, try them. Tell them you heard about it on the Locked On Celtics podcast. Use that code Locked On for 10% off at cracksauce.com. I'm telling you, you are going to love it. So Jaylen in that third quarter stretch was amazing. The dunk on like 3 or 4 Mavs, like early on, it was a very strong message like, hey, you want to protect the rim? Protect this. What do you got for me? That was one of the most incredible finals dunks that you're going to see. That was just insane. His defense overall, not just the block shots, his defense on Luka Dončić, amazing. Just so amazing. Like I just say run it back. What are you going to do? Right? What are you going to do if you're Dallas? If you're single covering Luka with Jaylen Brown and like Luka's bringing the ball up and Jaylen just pokes it free, goes and steals it and gets a dunk. What do you have? 3 dunks in this game? What are you going to do if you're Dallas? This is just Jaylen covering Luka straight up. What's the adjustment? If Jaylen's picking him up full court. So Jaylen spending time defending full court, plays 37 minutes, goes 7 of 12, 2 of 6 from 3. Again, the free throws need work, but puts up this incredible line, the 22 points, doesn't try to do too much, protects the ball, just 2 turnovers. Spectacular all the way around. Defensively, one of the best individual defensive performances you're going to see. The 3-block shot stretch was mind-blowing. It's just incredible to watch. They did all of this with Jayson Tatum not playing great. I'm not going to say he sucked because he didn't suck. He was a plus 19, which is just behind Drew Holiday for best on the team. So once again, Jayson Tatum being on the floor is meaningful. He did get 11 rebounds and he did have 5 assists, but he had 6 turnovers, and that's a problem. And 4 of those came in the first half. But they were able to still go up 29 and 25 in the third quarter before they and at that point it was cruising. So I think that Jayson Tatum's game, like he was clearly blitzed. They clearly wanted to take him out, and I think they wanted to dare Jaylen to have this kind of. They're like, hey, if you're going to have a game, if you're going to have this kind of game, then we're going to live with it. And I really think like that was the game plan, that they were just going to take Tatum out and say, everyone else, what can you do? The difference is when the Celtics do that to Luka, you really are only worried about Kyrie because all these other guys are not going to create for themselves. But Jaylen created for himself and did great. Dereck White, Drew Holiday, both had great games, right? The combination of those two guys, 27 points on 9 of 20 shooting, 5 of 13 from the 3-point lines. That's 38.5%, I think. Perfect 4-4 from the free throw line. 10 combined rebounds, although 8 were for Holiday. 10 combined assists split evenly. A steal apiece. And there is something being played. Wow. That's a noise I haven't heard. Is that because the scoreboard is going up? Oh, fantastic. Well, this is a treat. So you can hear that's the sound of the scoreboard going up. So learn something new here. I've never heard that noise. I've never seen the scoreboard going up like this. I guess they're getting ready for that concert. You can't have a Jumbotron in the middle of a concert. Makes sense. So being completely thrown off. Well, regardless, Celtics played great. Jayson Tatum didn't play great, but I think he accepted the double teams. He got off the ball. A couple of stretches where he maybe forced it a little bit. I think he can play better. He definitely can play better. I think he will play better. And the Celtics end up 25 with him playing like this, end up 29 with him playing like this, and end up winning pretty easily with Jayson Tatum not having his best game. That's meaningful because if Jayson Tatum does have his best game, then what? It takes away maybe from somebody else, but the Celtics are so well-rounded that it's going to be hard. It's going to be hard to beat them. The Mavs now have to beat Boston 4 out of 6 times. Not impossible. They've done it before. They've lost game ones in these playoffs. They lost to the Clippers. They lost to OKC. They've lost game ones and they've lost them badly. So it's a long series. And this is why I say it's just one game. This is a long series. This is a long stretch here. It doesn't seem likely that they are going to beat Boston the way Boston is playing, the way Boston has played. It doesn't seem likely that they're going to do that now 4 out of 6 times. That's difficult. It's difficult to beat Boston 4 out of 7 times. Each loss here just makes it tougher and tougher and tougher. But there are adjustments to be made. Luka Dončić is Luka Dončić. And Kyrie is Kyrie. They're going to hit shots. I think Kyrie was defended beautifully. I don't think he just missed shots. I think Luka missed some shots that on a different night, maybe he makes those. That's a different story. I think Luka can be like, yeah, I missed some shots that I normally make. I think Kyrie's life was made very difficult. They defended him very, very well. So I'm happy with that game plan. And we'll see. We'll see how differently they play Luka. I think the reality is that, Luka has some special nights, but also he's a good 3-point shooter, not a great 3-point shooter. He's not the best shooter in the world in general. He's just kind of a force of nature, and his passing just makes things difficult, and he has a knack for closing things out. But it's still just one game, and the Celtics have to play better. They have to take care of the ball better. They have to Jayson Tatum has to be better, fewer turnovers, and the Celtics just keep generating those shots, and hopefully they can be a little bit more consistent with those shots falling. Overall, just a top notch. I mean, it's an A. I don't want to say A plus because there's room for improvement. That's an A game from the Boston Celtics. Kind of a stinker from the Dallas Mavericks. Now the question is, what's sustainable and what's not, right? This is 1 point, one data point. Where does that next point take them? Where does that next point go? I thought that was over. Well, this podcast is over. The series is not. So I'm warning people, it's not over. But man, this was just about a perfect game. Build on that. Take care of game 2. Super important to take care of game 2. Now you go to Dallas. If you can win game 2, just take 1 in Dallas. Just take that 1 so you can close it out at home. What a perfect scenario that would be. Game 5 in Boston, winning a championship on this floor. But it's going to take a lot. It's going to take a lot. So, now there's another alarm going. I'm done. I'm wrapping up. There's too many noises here. So I'm wrapping things up. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. If you're a regular listener, if you're new to the show, please subscribe wherever you get your podcast. I would love it if you share the podcast, spread the word, tell everybody they should be listening to and watching the Locked On Celtics podcast right here on the Locked On Podcast Network. It's your team every day.